Vermont University is a public university in Burlington, Vermont, with roughly 12,000 students. While Burlington itself is a hidden gem in the northeastern part of the country, there's a rich history of basketball here. You probably recognize Patrick Gym as it reminds many of us of our high school basketball gymnasiums, but don't let the gym fool you. This is a Vermont program that relics that of a mid-major dynasty, so let's dive in a little bit to their history. Dating back to 1920, Vermont, like many programs at the time, was an independent team. However, they joined the Yankee Conference in 1946, which saw teams like Yukon, Rhode Island, Maine, UMass, and New Hampshire as part of what was called at the time the College Division. The Catamounts remained a part of this Yankee Conference up until 1976, when this conference was still classified as Division II, so Vermont dropped out of the conference and went independent. In 1979, Vermont joined the Eastern Collegiate Athletic Conference North. This conference saw teams like Boston U, Northeastern, Holy Cross, Maine, Rhode Island, Canisius, Vermont, Niagara, Colgate, and New Hampshire. Vermont saw just one winning season as a member of the conference, which came in the 80 and 81 season when the Catamounts went 16 and 12 on the season. Vermont then became a member of the North Atlantic Conference from 1988 to 1996. They saw a little bit more success here. They had 3 winning seasons, but nothing crazy, and they never finished with more than 16 wins. In 1996, Vermont found its permanent home in what is now known as the America East. This is where the fun begins for Vermont. Vermont saw an immediate shift with 7 winning seasons in the first 9 seasons, including their first NCAA tournament appearance that came in 2003. In fact, they actually went on a hot run where they went to the NCAA tournament 3 years in a row as a 16 seed in 2003, 15 seed in 2004, and 13 seed in 2005. In 2005, Vermont actually went 25-7 on the season and even knocked off Syracuse in a 60-57 victory in the first round of the NCAA tournament. Following this historic run, head coach Tom Brennan, who had taken over as head coach in 1986, retired. Brennan is a large staple in history in the rise of Vermont basketball. During his 19 seasons as head coach, he took a 5-23 Vermont team in 86-87 season and slowly built the program. It took a while, but by 2000 the momentum shifted and led to the history that we are now seeing, and finishing with at least 21 wins in his last 4 seasons. Since 2003, Vermont has made the NCAA tournament 9 times, including 2 wins in 2005 and 2012. In 2012, the win was a part of the first 4 against Lamar in a 71-59 victory before being defeated by North Carolina 77-58, in which North Carolina would go on to the Elite Eight that year. So after Brennan left, who's leading the charge? The Catamounts are led by head coach John Becker, who is now in his 13th season as their head coach. Becker has compiled an impressive 307 and 163 record during that span, including 6 NCAA tournament appearances, with 6 America East tournament championships, 8 regular season champions, 2 NIT appearances, and 3 CBI appearances. The Catamounts were poised to head to the tournament once again in 2020, in which they had a 26-7 record, 14-2 in conference, before it got canceled due to COVID-19. Since Becker took over in 2011, Vermont has actually never finished with less than 20 wins in a season, except for the 2020-2021 season, which again was affected by COVID-19. They only played in conference that season. They finished 10-5. As a result, in 2023, Becker became the winningest coach in Vermont history. His success has led to Becker securing 6 America East Coach of the Year awards. So let's dive into what has led to Becker's success in turning the Vermont Catamounts into a mid-major dynasty. One word: recruiting. Per Verbal Commits, Vermont has a 3.25 RPS, or Recruitment Power Score. Verbal Commits uses this ranking to weigh the relative strength of players and schools to grade recruitment. Since Becker took over in 2011, Vermont has been able to secure 4 3-star recruits, which is impressive for a small basketball conference like the America East. In the 2022-2023 season, he lost nearly 67% of his scoring from the season prior, but he still managed to go 23-11 on the season, and 14-2 in conference, despite starting 2-7 at the beginning of the year. So how did he do it? The transfer portal. He secured Dylan Penn, who was a highly sought-after transfer from Bellarmine. Penn came in as a grad transfer and averaged 13.4 points, 3.1 rebounds, and 2.1 assists per game. Finn Sullivan was in his second and last season at Vermont after transferring from San Diego, where he spent 3 seasons and he never averaged more than 7.6 points per game. However, in his last season at Vermont, he averaged 11.7 points, 4.9 rebounds, 2.4 assists, and 1.2 steals per game. And this season, Becker secured his top 2 performers via the transfer portal. He's also super good at finding undervalued talent. Let's take a look at Anthony Lamb. Lamb was a 2-star recruit coming out of high school. He had no power school offers, and he chose Vermont over St. Joseph's, Robert Morris, Iona, Stony Brook, Charlotte, Buffalo, Canisius, and Fairfield. Lamb proceeded to go on to win America East Player of the Year in 2019 and 2020. He was actually named an AP Honorable Mention All-American in 2019, and he would go on to play 3 seasons in the NBA for Houston, San Antonio, and Golden State. This season is proving to be no different for the Catamounts. They're being led by scorer TJ Long, who's a junior COVID sophomore transfer from Fairfield. Long's averaging 11.6 points, 3.6 rebounds, 1.5 assists, and 1 steal per game. Becker has the Catamounts poised for yet another American East title and an NCAA appearance with a 21-6 record and 11-1 in the America East, which has them in first place, 2 games ahead of second place Bryant. Becker has helped build a dynasty in Burlington, in what is now a household name among college basketball enthusiasts. In fact, many college basketball fans enjoy picking Vermont as a favorite to upset teams in March Madness, despite their 2-9 record in the tournament. This is a fun team that has figured out how to thrive in the mid-major ranks thanks to both the transfer portal and finding undervalued talent.